this individual or individuals made a total of 23 unauthorized attempts to access this site with Agent Schlib's username in a 10-minute period. Our initial request that the House preserve relevant computer logs was first made to the House Clerk at 11:30 a.m. on May 2nd and was denied 6 hours later. Once that request was denied and I was concerned that the information would be destroyed, I issued an open records request under the Sunshine Law to the House Speaker, the House Clerk, and the House Chief Information Officer. As the agency charged with maintaining the security and integrity of the state's computer system, the Office of Administration has a duty to protect and safeguard information held on the state computer system. The request was straightforward and narrow in scope. Under the Sunshine Law, retain and provide the computer logs for a 1-hour period during which these unauthorized attempts were made. Late last night, House Clerk Adam Crumless issued a response identifying himself as the custodian of records for the purpose of the Sunshine Law and indicating the records have been preserved but will not be provided. This arcane and really referenced provision states, Senators and Representatives shall, in all cases except treason, felony, or breach of the peace, be privileged from arrest during the session of the General Assembly and for the 15 days next before the commencement and after the termination of each session, and they shall not be questioned for any speech or debate in either house in any other place. They also assert that the records are closed under a provision contained in the Sunshine Law where, ironically, disclosure would allow unauthorized access to a computer system. The disclosure of the requested computer logs needed to identify who attempted to access a secure site on the state computer system would not jeopardize computer security for the House of Representatives. As we explained in our open records request, this information is a public record maintained by a public governmental body which the public and the press have a right to access. My interest is in protecting the integrity of our state's computer network, which this as yet unknown individual or individuals sought to undermine by using someone else's, a law enforcement official's, login information to gain access to a website restricted in this case to law enforcement purposes. Attempting to create a legislative exemption to the Sunshine Law or a misplaced reliance on a provision in the Sunshine Law in order to prevent the public from examining these records and identifying this person or persons is unsatisfactory and frankly troubling. Now that the House has designated a custodian of records and indicated that these records have in fact been retained, it is time for the House to provide them to the public. Again, these are open records and the public and the press have a right to access them so that the facts in this matter can be ascertained. Lastly, the response from the House of Representatives also included a Sunshine request directed to the Office of Administration. A response to those requests has already been sent to the House with responsive documents that were readily available, and the remainder of the request is being processed. We've now, based on the response last night, have obtained acknowledgement that a record does exist. They need to produce the record and let the press and the public know who did it, and from there, let's move on down the road. I mean, my job here is to run government, and I'm happy that the House has recognized that they have a custodian of records and that they understand that this record exists.